This is my hobby, the greatest hobby. Hello everyone, Hobbyist here, and we are back at it again with our Talisman character exploration guide. Now, previously we covered the incredibly powerful Warlock, and how everything inside of his kit essentially is wrapped inside of the Warlock's can. But with our two remaining characters left of the Frostmarch expansion, let's go ahead and get on to the next one. The Frostmarch expansion of the 84 adventure cards. We are going to be covering a character who is very much similar in regards to the Ogre Chieftain and is similar to the Minstrel. And he is a type of sorcerer who works with the dead. That's right, the character we're going to be covering is the Necromancer. So let's go ahead and get into the Necromancer. So taking a look at his character card, you can see that he's got a strength of 2 and a craft of 4, which is average for most characters. And you can see this white snowflake here at the bottom. Any cards that possess that logo means they're a part of the Frostmarch expansion, so it makes things easier when it comes to separating this expansion from any other expansions, if you ever wanted to do that. But moving forward, the Necromancer has a fate of 2 and an average life of 4. He's an evil character who starts in the graveyard, which is why we have him where we do, as well as having 4 character abilities. So first things first, you begin the game with 2 spells. So as you can probably see with the Necromancer, this is starting to become a recurring pattern. It's not something that's too far in between each character that we've covered in all of our expansions. You're going to find a lot of spellcasters, especially inside of this expansion. But those 2 beginning spells for the Necromancer could prove to be very fruitful depending on what kind they are, especially with the various combinations of the spells inside of the Frostmarch expansion or the base game spells. But moving on towards the next character ability, whenever you attack another character, you may choose to make the attack psychic combat. You may not do this when you are attacked by another character. So, as you can see here, the Necromancer, as well as the previous characters we've covered, are allowed to take the initiative when it comes to craft. So, that ability in of itself suggests that craft is the way to go with the Necromancer, because it allows you to take on the initiative, especially since characters like the Ogre Chieftain, who are going to struggle with strength. Craft, excuse me. So, moving on to this third character ability, and to be clear, these next 2 character abilities are different enough, but they're similar enough to the Ogre Chieftain and the Minstrel that they kind of homage into the same category, in which spirits will not attack you, although you may choose to attack them. And if you do not attack a spirit, you may enthrall it if your craft is higher than the spirit's craft. The spirit joins you as a follower and adds its craft to yours in psychic combat, after which it departs to the discard pile. You may use any number of enthralled spirits during psychic combat. So essentially, it is giving you craft boosts, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the problem that I have when it comes to craft users is that inside of just the base game, and if you're just using the Frostmarch expansion, it's really hard to find spirits, or any spirits that are powerful enough that provide enough aid to you to make a difference, or are weak enough for you to enthrall. Because even though you might have a craft of 4 as your starting craft, there's going to be a lot of higher end spirits, especially if you go inside the dungeon. So it's almost practically impossible to get those spirits, because they're just going to keep being higher. They're always going to be that 4 or higher, and that sort of thing. So overall, what do I think of the Necromancer? I think he has his strengths in regards to being able to use those spirits as craft boots, but they're such a rare and far in between, and generally on the bit of the higher end of the spectrum, that it almost becomes impossible for them to be used effectively. And honestly, when it comes to my personal preference, I don't find the Necromancer to be the most interesting character. He's definitely better than the Monk, that's for sure. But as far as just personal interest, why? Not so much with the Necromancer. But other than that, this concludes the Necromancer tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next one.